Mike Tyson earned $700 million. By the time he was 38 years old, he owed $23 million. At his peak, he was the most feared athlete on the planet and one of the highest-paid entertainers in human history. He owned white Bengal tigers. He maintained a staff of 200 people. He spent $400,000 a month on personal expenses alone. The money was never the problem. His mind was. Welcome back to Money Mind Dojo. This is episode 10, the finale of the psychology of invisible traps. Over the last 9 episodes, we have exposed the invisible psychological forces that drain your wealth without you ever noticing them. Today, we bring it all together with the ultimate cautionary tale and the ultimate lesson. This video is for educational purposes only. It is not financial advice. But what I am about to describe is not just Mike Tyson's story. It is a pattern that has repeated across hundreds of names, across every industry, across every income level. Understanding this pattern and what drives it is the final trap to expose. Mike Tyson is the most dramatic version of a story that repeats constantly. Nicolas Cage earned $150 million and faced tax liens and foreclosures on 15 properties. Allen Iverson earned $200 million over his NBA career and was reportedly broke by age 40. MC Hammer earned $30 million in his peak years and declared bankruptcy with $30 million in debt. Scottie Pippen, 6 NBA championships, $120 million, spent it almost entirely. The pattern is not about income. It is about identity. It is about what money means to you at a psychological level. And what it means says everything about what will happen to it. The Mike Tyson trap is not about spending too much. It is about what spending represents when your entire sense of self is built on external proof of worth. Mike Tyson grew up in Brownsville, Brooklyn, one of the most economically distressed neighborhoods in New York. He was bullied as a child, lost his mother at 16, and channeled every ounce of his pain into boxing. Cus D'Amato, his legendary trainer and surrogate father, gave him structure, identity, and purpose. When Cus died in 1985, 2 years before Tyson became heavyweight champion, something irreplaceable was lost. By the time Tyson became the youngest heavyweight champion in history at 20, he had money, but he had no framework for it. No financial education, no trusted advisors free of conflict of interest, no psychological infrastructure between the trauma of his childhood and the overwhelming volume of cash flowing into his life. Money in that context does not build wealth. It becomes a coping mechanism. Every purchase is a statement, I am worth something. Every luxury is an attempt to feel, permanently, what his childhood never allowed him to feel, secure, respected, untouchable. This is what psychologists call compensatory consumption. Spending that compensates for unmet psychological needs. Research from the Journal of Consumer Psychology has consistently shown that people with low feelings of personal security spend more on visible status symbols than those who feel secure, regardless of actual income. The trap is not that the money ran out. The trap is that the money could never do what it was being asked to do. You cannot buy your way to a secure identity. Tyson's financial collapse was not just a personal psychology story, it was a structural one. At peak wealth, he maintained an entourage of hundreds. Every person in his circle had a financial stake in his continued spending. His promoter Don King, against whom Tyson later filed a $100 million lawsuit, allegedly siphoned tens of millions over the course of their relationship. Advisors, managers, accountants, trainers, personal staff, many had every incentive to enable the spending and little incentive to challenge it. When you are the financial center of 100 people's lives, the unanimous advice is almost always keep spending. Research from the National Endowment for Financial Education found that 70% of lottery winners exhaust their winnings within 5 years. The NFL Players Association has reported that 78% of NFL players experience financial distress within 2 years of retirement. The pattern across all of these cases shares 3 characteristics: a sudden large influx of money with no corresponding financial education, a social ecosystem that enables spending rather than building, and a psychological relationship with money rooted in identity and insecurity rather than utility and compounding. This is not a story about athletes. This is a template. The same forces operate on a smaller scale whenever someone receives a sudden income increase, a promotion, an inheritance, a business exit, without the psychological and structural frameworks to handle it. The antidote to the Mike Tyson trap is not financial planning. Financial planning is the symptom management. The root work is building an ordered inner relationship with money. This is what Housel calls the inner scorecard. The practice of measuring your financial decisions against your own values and long-term goals rather than against the perceptions of others. Warren Buffett has spoken about it explicitly. He operates on an inner scorecard rather than an outer one. He does not need the mansion. He does not need the staff. He is measuring against something only he can see. Here is the framework for building inner order. First, define what enough means to you in specific written terms before you have it. Not a feeling, a number, a lifestyle, a level of freedom. When you know what enough is, every financial decision has a reference point beyond status and fear. Second, build a trusted structure before the money arrives. An accountant who charges a flat fee, not a commission. A financial planner who is legally obligated to your interests. A fiduciary. A small number of trusted people who will tell you the truth about what they see, even when it is uncomfortable. Third, separate your identity from your income. Your net worth is not your self-worth. This sounds simple. For people who grew up without financial security, it is among the most difficult psychological work there is. But it is the only work that makes the rest of the framework permanent. Mike Tyson has spoken in later life about what he wishes he had understood earlier. Not investment strategies, not tax planning. He said, "I did not know who I was without boxing. I did not know who I was without the money. And when the money was gone, I had to find out. And it was the hardest thing I ever did." Over the last 10 episodes, we have exposed 10 invisible traps. The arrival signal that signals absence. The car loan that finances your image. The luxury markup that sells you a feeling. The drugstore shelf that charges you for brand loyalty. The subscriptions draining you while you sleep. The YOLO illusion that steals your future. The friends who cost you without meaning to. The raise that made you poorer. The savings account eroding you in silence. And now, the Mike Tyson trap. The ultimate cost of building wealth without building yourself. This series was called The Psychology of Invisible Traps for a reason. None of these forces announce themselves. None of them require your consent. They operate in the silence between your choices, unless you know how to see them. You have been watching this series. That means something. The awareness you have built over these 10 episodes is the foundation that makes every other financial decision better. In Series 2, The Neuroscience of Unsexy Saving, we move from identifying traps to building systems. Automated systems that do not require willpower. Psychological frameworks that make saving feel like freedom rather than sacrifice. The Ulysses contract, the 30-day dopamine delay, the anti-latte factor. Hit subscribe so you do not miss a single episode. Like this video, if this series changed something in how you see yourself and your money, and share it with one man in your life who needs this now. This is Money Mind Dojo. Train your mind. Build your wealth.